As I was driving to the gym with me and my friend, and we were just conversating and just, bouncing from one conversation to another, and another. One thing that I realized that, stuck to the back of my head and is something that I want to talk about in this video is that, confidence is not something that you're just born with, And yeah, you may have certain outliers here and there, that, have some form of confidence, coming straight from the womb. But the reality is that 8 or 9 times out of 10, you're not going to have that naturally. And, over time with my experience and, what I've learned throughout, everything from my fitness journey to just, overall just socializing with other people, going from one job to another. One thing that I can tell you is that, the more reps you have in something, the more confident you're going to be. And it's all about the amount of hours that you really put into whatever you want to be confident at. Hold on, let me fix this. And the thing is that, a lot of times, a lot of people are just paralyzed and, they don't take action to whatever they truly want to do. Or, they just get stuck into, this state of mind where they just want to think a lot and, have a plan for this and have a plan for that and for this and for that. They have a whole plan book from A to Z, but, when you tell them, be like, start with plan A, they freeze because, they're not used to, taking action and, they're so used to like thinking and thinking and thinking. But, when you don't, act on it, the reality is that, you're not building that confidence. And that's something that, I've come to realize. And, one thing that I come to realize too is that like, yeah, you go to the gym, you work out, your body starts to, look better than the average, your physique, your appearance overall starts to look better than average. But the reality is that, if you can't like socialize with other people, if you can't hold the conversations to some extent, it's pointless, you know what I mean? Because that's one thing that I kind of like realized, as time goes on, is that like, yeah, I have a decent physique, you can see the biceps over here, legs, grown, muscular in some way, shape, or form. Overall, I'm trying to say is that even though I have a lean, athletic body, which is true, the reality is that like, a lot of the skills like, talking to other people, you know what I mean? Like just overall, like how I carry myself in certain social scenarios, social awareness, those are just skills that you just have to independently learn. And if you don't, and you don't branch out and, involve your skill set, you're never going to truly just be confident in yourself. You're not going to fully be confident in yourself, in your own skin and your own like skill set. And like, you're not going to feel like capable in the real world. And that's something that, I'm slowly learning too, because, I've always been focused on, getting in shape. And I've always been focused on, how can I get stronger here and how can I look better here? And what can I do to grow my shoulders? What can I do to, overall a lot of stuff to just improve my physique. But when it comes to other skill sets like, talking to people, when it comes to other skill sets like, trying to, form connections, those are just skill sets like for me, I personally just, I lack in because, I don't know if it's because, I'm like a little bit shy when it comes to making new connections, or if it's just because, I'm satisfied with the friend group that I have. But, it's one of those skill sets that, I'm really working on. And the reality is that like, I always tell myself, and I hope you guys tell yourself this too, is that like, the more reps that you put into something, the better you're gonna get. And the better you get at something, the more confidence you're gonna have at it. And, that's pretty much the philosophy that I always walk around with, in my own brain. That as long as I, put in more hours in one thing, I'm gonna get better in that one thing. And, I was just thinking about that, throughout the whole car ride, as I was, as I was like having like conversations with my friend and etc. And yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Like I was just thinking about like, how confidence is just not like naturally like given to a lot of people. And I really wanted to make this video because the reality is that like, I know a lot of people who think that, let's say like they just, as soon as they get all the muscles in the world, that they're gonna, be confident like there's no tomorrow. And I know others who just think that, look, like, how do I say it, you know? And I know other people who, you know, think that confidence is just something you're just either born with or you're not born with. And, you know, I personally believe that, you know, that as long as you work hard at something, you're going to be more confident in it. And, you know, that's pretty much what I have for you guys in this video. This is like a short video, but, you know, I'm getting used to like this raw style that I have for this channel. So, you know, it's a little bit scattered, but a lot less scattered than before. If you like content like this, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in another video.